Yakutia, Russia. This vast region in north-central Siberia is one of the most remote and least explored in the world. Here, hidden within dense forests and thick marshlands, along the Viliui River, is an area many refer to as the Valley of Death.
The Valley of Death in Siberia is a place where local people will not venture because they say no one comes out alive.
The locals are very reluctant to speak about what's going on, and they don't want people to go there.
It's an area of such quote-unquote evil that the people who live there, the Yakut tribe, describe it as a place that's almost uninhabitable.
In 1854, geographer and natural scientist Richard Karl Mach was appointed by the Russian Geographical Society to lead a scientific expedition into the dreaded Viliui River basin. In his journal, Mach wrote of several large and mysterious metallic objects that the local hunters referred to as cauldrons.
These pictures illustrate what people claimed the cauldrons had looked like. The first picture shows a cauldron upside down with an open entrance, where even a man on his reindeer can enter. The second one shows another cauldron with some side supports.
The existence of the metal structures was confirmed on 3 separate occasions between 1933 and 1947 by Mikhail Koretsky of Vladivostok, who traveled to the Valley of Death to pan for gold. He claimed to have seen 7 dome-shaped cauldrons, each measuring 20 to 30 feet in diameter, with odd vegetation growing around them.
Some of the people later reported loss of hair, strange sickness affecting them, strange condition of the skin that would never go away.
But what could explain such a toxic reaction? And where similar to those described in local legends?
I felt very dizzy all of a sudden. I lost my balance, I threw up, and I had a fever. And I don't know why. I couldn't walk. I was losing sight. I couldn't drink or swallow. And the pupils in my eyes were dilating fast. So I thought maybe I had been poisoned. When I came home, I had a thorough checkup, and the doctors couldn't find any reason for my illness.
Had the explorers found the location of the metal cauldrons? And what was the cause of Mackerel's strange and sudden symptoms? Could there be some sort of radiation deep within the ground? According to local Yakutia legends, the metal cauldrons were part of a powerful weapon left behind after a great battle between 2 demons of the forest.
According to old legends, there was an epic battle between the forest demons named Njurgen Butor and Tong Derai. During the battle, fireballs were coming from the earth. There was a horrible sound, and all the forest area was destroyed. Trees were upside down and rocks smashed.
And when everything cleared out, the locals found a vertical structure that stayed there for a while until it sunk into the permafrost. The Valley of Death is said to contain strange objects embedded in the permafrost that are activated through the ages, through the centuries, and basically shoot out fiery objects that intercept incoming objects that are out to harm the planet.
The local people there say it is some kind of alien underground installation that comes active and will shoot comets or meteors or aerial craft that are in the area. And in fact, this may have been what caused the Tunguska explosion.
Approximately a century ago, relatively nearby the Valley of Death, we had a very enigmatic event happen in the so-called Tunguska explosion. An explosion of such extraordinary mass and of extraordinary impact that it wiped out almost an entire area of Siberia.
There was some type of an explosion that happened in midair above the ground at Tunguska. So is it possible the weapon was deployed? Maybe. The only way that such a thing is in fact possible is if extraterrestrials had their hands in it. Our ancestors could never have built a defense system like that. So if such a defense system really existed, then it would have had to have been 100% extraterrestrial in origin.
This is such an extraordinary story that really we have to wonder whether it could potentially be real. If it is real, then we are really confronted with evidence that at some point in the past, something was going on this planet, which is really ancient aliens in its most physical form, with ancient remains which could still be seen there.
Ancient astronaut theorists believe the so-called Valley of Death may really be the site of an underground radioactive defense system. And they say this could help explain the numerous accounts of sickness and death from that region of Siberia.
There are some cursed places on this planet that are very strange, and when you go there, things can happen to you. Maybe it was always that way, but there are just some areas there that you just don't feel right.
There's one specific case in France whereby a very powerful place, which is actually called perilous because it is a perilous place to go, and it was said that this was a place where God had been seen. So what we have here is something which happened for generations and really warned of the next generation not to go there.
There is an area that they talk about in Lebanon called Baalbek. It's reported to be a landing site for extraterrestrials. Some people also believe it possesses some form of negative energy, almost as if there's a curse. You can feel it. It looms over you if you're out there. There are some areas on this planet that seem to have an increase in radioactivity. What caused that? What happened? Was there an explosion? Was there something from outer space? Was there some kind of a craft that landed that creates radioactivity? Who knows? But these are areas that we human beings ought not go.
There seem to be certain areas around the world where there had been some kind of nuclear or conflict or radiation weapons used, or that are some kind of dumping ground for radioactive waste. You have places like Mohenjo-Daro in Pakistan where certain skeletons are radioactive. You've got areas of southwest Egypt that are sheets of glass, as if from some nuclear explosion.
In ancient India, you have wars between gigantic tribes. Sometimes the gods, the so-called extraterrestrials, interfere. You can read definitely in the Mahabharata that gigantic armies are killed. You have some atomic bomb or something like atomic bomb, because it is described that the sun went up shining brighter than the normal sun. It was a gigantic lightning. Then they described in a circus of about 20 kilometers, everything was dead. And the ones who survived had all kind of new sickness which were never seen before, like the teeth falling out. Today we would call these kind of sickness radiation sickness.
In a number of occasions, you will probably find that an evil place is a very dangerous place because what is happening there might be the remnant of some kind of ancient technology which was in operation there. We know that, for example, in the mountains of Libya, there are actually places where uranium was mined 8,000 years ago. And in those places, clearly, it is an evil place. It should be avoided at all cost.
Some ancient astronaut theorists believe radioactivity, or some other unknown type of energy left behind by extraterrestrials, could be the cause of Earth's evil places. Eddy County, New Mexico. The Waste Isolation Pilot Plant. Since 1999, the United States Department of Energy has been storing radioactive and nuclear waste inside a salt mine more than 2,000 feet underground. Computer projections estimate that the walls and ceiling of this geological stronghold will collapse and entomb the toxic refuse in about 1,000 years.
There have been all sorts of calculations about, oh, well, it can stay there forever, and this sort of rock strata is quite safe, and, you know, it's geologically faultless and so forth. But over the kind of lifespan of these substances, the half-life of uranium is 4.5 billion years, and plutonium is 25,000 years. So in 50,000 years, still half of the plutonium will be there. And there's no way over that period of time that this stuff won't become a very, very serious hazard for the human race.
If a nuclear waste disposal site becomes compromised hundreds or even thousands of years from now, toxic radiation could leak into the surrounding environment, causing serious illness and even death. Future generations of humans may consider these deadly sites to be cursed or evil. So are the Earth's so-called evil places of today evidence of extraterrestrial activity thousands of years ago? Could they be a type of intergalactic no trespassing sign, intended to protect us or frighten us off? Perhaps they're intended to keep us from discovering the truth about our past, or even to prepare us for our future.